Hey everyone, so I am currently doing some self reflection as I have in the past few videos. I really want to walk unfettered. I really want to walk in a place of healing and really help my brothers and sisters with that as well because I think one of the things that can really hold us back from doing what God wants us to do in this life is our personal hurts, those that we received growing up, those that were caused by those that possibly didn't care or they were unaware of the stuff that they had said or done that caused woundedness to us and the baggage that we take with us even when we come to Christ. Personally, you've heard my other videos how I walked in rejection and I have self-worth issues. And it's having to stop myself at those moments before I let it get to me. Because if I let it get to me, then I will start operating out of those same patterns as I have always done. And I don't want to do that anymore. I want to walk where God would want me to. I want to live free and really move to where He wants me, to where I would get to that place to where, somebody could say something to me that in the past would be potentially wounding. Well, I get to that place to where it no longer bothers me. And so that's where I want to be. That's the kind of life that I want to live. I believe that we all can get to that place to where God will have us do His will and our past woundedness won't stop us. So other videos I was, more or less trying to dissect how I was feeling at the times of rejection and self-worth, when they come into play by what somebody says and what somebody does that causes that. I have plenty of times in my life where it wasn't just my perception, it was the actual truth, to where you know family members treated me as if I wasn't anything. I remember, one Christmas going over to a cousin's house. Everyone got all these new gifts, and what did I get? I got used stuff. I got some kind of clock radio that was used, and I got a TV guide. I'm like, who's going to give somebody a TV guide for a Christmas present? But that's the presents I got. So there is really, in those cases, I mean, how can you be understanding with something like that? Because, I mean, in some people's minds, you're just not worth anything. But really, it doesn't matter what they think. What matters is what God thinks. So I was reflecting back. I was telling a couple of people, my mother, I was telling a close brother at church about, this anger that I feel. And I was trying to trace what it could be. Is it like correction that does that? And today, just finding out maybe the word observation is what is closely tied to that, because I've noticed in some examples in the past that somebody made a statement. I don't know if it was critical, something that I should have done or whatever, but the way that they had said it really made me angry, you know? And somebody keeps doing that, I will blow up. And I'm like thinking, I mean, is this rooted from my past? And to this day, I still don't know. But the earliest I can remember is, the pastor that brought me to God back in 98. I mean, here I'm already operating from rejection and self-worth issues. I didn't know it then because I never did personal reflection, but I was operating out of them. Here I just wanted something that could make me feel important, maybe. I mean, he always went on about the guy that was in his worship team, and it made me feel inferior. And so then that would tie into self-worth issues, that I'm not worth anything. This guy's better than I am. And so here I'm always trying to reach up to that plateau of approval from this pastor. And I think that dipped into some of the emails that I had sent to him. He would always print out what I sent to him. He would sit with me and then use that email to justify himself. Use that email to more or less ridicule my statements, trying to prove them otherwise, prove them to be silly. And so I recall, I guess the earliest was, I had made a video in the past, and it might have been last year, in which I was talking about, the whole Bible college, and I was talking about the stupid decisions I made, like this girl that I was talking to in Seattle, for a year, and we were hoping to, meet up eventually. And friends of mine gave me their phone card because at that time we didn't have cell phones. We had landlines. And so I used a landline phone to call my girlfriend, and we talked for hours. I didn't think of it at the time. I was like 19 years old. And so I made stupid decisions. And so I jacked up a friend's phone bill, and I felt so bad afterwards. And so that was cause for the pastor to reach out to, my internet girlfriend's family, and they cut communication between us. So that caused me to be brokenhearted. But then the pastor would sit with me. And I recall when he picked me up with my mother and a friend whose phone bill I jacked up. She was in the car. She didn't say much to me. I guess she was ticked off because of her phone bill, which is understandable. But the pastor had me sit up in front, and he was just like really correcting me. I think he was more or less ridiculing any kind of statements I made. And when I'm ticked off, I will keep to myself. I will not say anything. And the more correction he brought to me, the angrier I got. And so I'm like, you know what? Stop the car. And so he stopped the car. I got out and I went into the very back and sat. And I didn't say nothing to him the entire trip. I think that was the last straw in our relationship. We didn't, I don't think, converse anymore. And it wasn't until a few years ago I had sent him a message apologizing about the past, asking for his forgiveness. He said he forgave me, but there was no, looking inward to find out if he did anything wrong toward me. But, it doesn't matter. Our forgiveness doesn't hinge on somebody else's, as long as we're doing what we're supposed to do. So I'm thinking that's the earliest memory that I have of where this, I guess you could say, explosive anger comes in. I wouldn't say it's like I don't lash out physically, but I will be verbal in my anger when I am really upset. And so I had wondered where this anger came from. Why is it, if somebody is observing what I'm doing and telling me I should do differently, why I get so angry? And I'm thinking that it's because of that time speaking with that pastor. So I had this morning, I was thinking about the differences, what it could be, and it was observation I was thinking about. And I recall, the author of The Shack, William P. Young, in one of his videos I had posted on my channel, he was talking about observation and how, from his own woundedness, he took what his wife said the wrong way. Like she said, this is not how you wash dishes. You got to do it this way. So he took it personally, like, oh, he's a piece of crap because he didn't get that right. And that's not what his wife meant. She was, I guess, trying to help him. But how many of us take that the wrong way? somebody could observe something that we're doing and, try to help us to do better. But I think it's the delivery that somebody can, it can, you know, how they deliver their message to us is how we can react. We can come out from our reaction with woundedness from our past. Who's going to accept a message that is filled with critical remarks? Who's going to take that easily? And I think there's two types of observations in the deliveries. You could have somebody like could say, they could be easy on their delivery to you, observing what you're doing. They could say, well, you could do it this way. It would be a lot easier, and that would be easy to take, opposed to, you're not doing it the right way. You need to do it this way. You need to go this way. You need to go that way. You should have turned right instead of going straight for a mile. What they say could be right, but how they deliver it can really make somebody angry. And so, um, observation, I tried to take, um, the definition of it. Um, Let me see if I can find it. I wrote it down, but I don't remember where I put it. Okay, so here it is. It's observation, an act or instance of noticing or perceiving. And then correction is a change that rectifies an error or inaccuracy. So, I recall I was driving with friends one day, and I'm in a new area that one of my friends knew the area, and I think I somewhat knew it. Uh, maybe I didn't know it, and so I was relying on her help. And I said that this area looked somewhat familiar, and she was like insisting that this is not the area I'm thinking about. And so the way that she had observed, you know, like, I don't know if it was my driving that she was observing or my sense of direction, but the way she said it was really making me angry. And so, that played in the past of the woundedness. And so I recall another time where I was driving with an ex and her kid, and we were going to a Chick-fil-A parking lot. I guess they ordered food. And uh I I don't I didn't have before this any experience going in their parking lot. I didn't know how it worked. And so I do now because I pick up deliveries. So you go in and you got a line in which you're waiting to order your food with one of the attendants, and then you keep going and you pick up your food. Well, you can go around into one of the parking spots. But I didn't know that. I may have made a wrong turn. I did something wrong, and her daughter, like, I don't know if she observed, but the way she delivered, like, a correction or whatever it was, it made me angry. And I mean, just something somebody could say can really, personally set me off. Uh, so those are a couple of examples that, I am currently personally dealing with. How can I live in such a way to where I'm not going to let it affect me? Can I stop myself at the moment of correction and, with understanding, try to see where they're coming from in the midst of their observing? Can I do that without getting angry? You know, And is it possible to receive any kind of correction or observation through understanding, and stop myself from working out of the wounded patterns of the past? It just takes, you know, receiving any kind of observation or correction from somebody, despite the way that they deliver it. If they deliver it wrong, is it possible for me to, and for you possibly, is it possible for us to take any correction or observation from somebody through understanding, even though their delivery is wrong and it's not right? Can we do so through understanding, realizing that they're trying to help us in that way? It really takes really spending the time with God and asking Him, just to help us to recognize these patterns that we're living out of, that we don't have to anymore. If we can stop ourselves at that moment, realizing that this is possibly a pattern we're working out of, then going to God, say, Lord, I have this issue inside me that I need your help with. I don't want to walk in the patterns of my past. I want to walk in healing. I want to walk in such a way to where the issues of the past are not going to be issues with me anymore. I want to walk unfettered. So this is where I personally am. And really, I just, more and more things I want God to bring up in my life that could possibly help you as well to walk unfettered. So I just wanted to share this message with you. Thank you for taking the time to watch.